This is Roger, and this is going to be another tip on fitness, health, and nutrition. Or perhaps some of you might be thinking that these are actually Roger's yet another reason we should all exercise. I'm going to tell about a study that was done with animals. Now, I don't believe in animal testing, not at all. Student testing, different story. But animal testing, no. But this test gave us some really interesting results that we're going to examine for just a minute. Took place over 3 weeks, and mice, yes, mice, were divided up into two groups. One group were allowed to remain in their cages. The other group were forced to swim. You can just imagine how the scientists made these mice swim. They were forced to swim for just 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week over the course of 3 weeks. At the end of that time period, the mice who were forced to swim had a reduction in belly fat. Exercise reduces your belly fat. We didn't need a mouse study to tell us that. But what happened next was interesting. The mice were all infected with staphylococci. Now these are nasty bacteria and they produce lung infections in both sets of mice, both the control group and the group that did the swimming. However, the swimming group recovered faster and had less lung damage, which meant that the swimming, the exercise, actually increased the mice immune function. Now that is something worth writing home about, or writing a paper about, or maybe testing animals over if you think testing animals is okay. So what happened was the mice that would exercise had faster healing, less lung damage, and fewer markers for inflammation. It turns out that the fat cells that were remaining in the mice who were sedentary actually produced inflammation markers that spread throughout the body and actually cause your immune system to overreact. In other words, if you're overweight, your immune system is in a state of constant alert, constant activity, and this lowers your ability to actually respond when you do have an infection. Also, it turns out that when you damage muscles, like in the process of exercise, and the muscles are damaged and then they're repaired, immune cells help with that repair, and that actually boosts your immune function. Yet another reason why exercise is good for you. And now something else is also going on. Those fat cells eventually lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance leads to diabetes, and diabetes leads to further susceptibility to infection. Turns out that DNA damage is also accelerated by these inflammation markers that are coming out of fat cells. Who knew that you needed another reason to exercise? So while I don't agree with animal testing, not even little mice, I do see that this study has some value in it because it gives us some concrete evidence that exercise not only makes you feel good, it actually boosts your immune system, thereby providing protection from cancers and increasing ultimately your quality of life. Which means this, that even Roger had better go get some exercise. And if this mouse study has anything to say for it, 10 minutes of swimming ought to be just the thing. This has been Roger for another tip on fitness, health, and nutrition, hoping that you live a healthy, happy life.